Welcome to this month's Mom's Night Out Online. I am always so excited about this night of the month. It is Mom's Night Out, and there's no need to get dressed up, and there's no need to figure out childcare, and there's no need to worry about if hubby's on time to switch out the cars. There's no need to do any of that hustle and bustle that it takes to go somewhere on a weeknight. You can just go in your room, click on a button, and come to Mom's Night Out and come join us for an encouraging message that's designed just for you. And I'm honored and excited that you're here. Now, I just love this because if you can relate to this picture, you are in the right place. You know you're a mom when you can't remember what the word privacy means. Hello, and yes, somebody, like you must be a mom, and you are my kind of people. If this picture just totally makes sense in your world, like you totally get that. You're like, yes, that's my world. It may not be a little person in your life right now, but you look at that picture and you instantly know what that means. Yes, you are my people, and we're in the right place. Tonight, we are going to talk about 12 things intentional parents do differently. Now, I am going to say that title with a caveat. This just might be a part one. I am not sure I'll be able to get through all 12 of these tonight. So we might do the first 6 tonight and then move on to the last 6 in our next Mom's Night Out and do it as a part 1 and a part 2. That way we can cover this content and I don't have to zoom through this so fast that I don't do the points justice and you feel like frazzled because it's just way too much info. So that's probably how we will do it. And just to introduce myself to anyone watching this recording, and they're not sure, like, who is she? What's up? I am Susan, and I am the mama to these sweet people, all 7 of them. Yes, they are ages 18 of my son. He's the oldest, all the way down to 5. And they make my life, well, let's just say interesting would be the word today, but they are precious souls in my life. I love them. And over the years, I've been repeatedly asked, how do you do it? And I almost don't know how to answer that question. I rank it right up there with, what's the meaning of love? It's one of those questions that you want to answer, but you could probably go in 12 different directions. And so you're saying, okay. So all I end up saying is, by the grace of God. Now, I don't know that that's really helpful to the mom who's like sincerely standing there looking at me going, seriously, no, seriously. No, I get it. By the grace of God, you do what? Like, what do you do and how does this work and what? Like, they're scratching their head. So I have taken it as an absolute calling to speak and to work with and to talk with and to encourage and to mentor moms. It's what I do. And these 7 people give me experience of which to speak from. I do not speak from head knowledge or expertise. You will not see PhD or any kind of letters and acronyms behind my name. You will just merely see me write the word mom. That's my title that I wear. That's my title that I love. And I'm honored to be the mother to these sweet people. I welcome you to reach out to me. I love hearing from you all. I love getting your emails. I love getting to connect with you, to hear what's up in your world, to hear how I can help you. And this is the best way you can reach me. I direct you to Facebook or I direct you to just email me, susan@susanc.com, and we can connect. But tonight, let's jump in. Because, you see, this morning, I sent you all, and I said, which group are you in? And likely you opened that thing going, which group am I in? If you got the email, and if you're not on my email list, get on it. Don't miss it. Good stuff flows through there. Videos that come to encourage you, that notifications about the next Mom's Night Out, and great other stuff that's coming up. So if you're not on the list, go to susanc.com and get on it. Don't miss it. So the question is, which one are you? So I'd love to hear, ladies, in the chat box. There were 2 groups. There's the distracted group, and there's the intentional group. And I just want your own self-assessment right now. because I'm going to share with you some things that have learned, and there's some things that I'm going to point out, but which would you say? Okay. Let's see what we can do here. Oscillating, yes, a little bit of both. Sadly, more distracted, jack of all, master of none. I love you, Jeanette, always have. Yes, well, I have been thinking on this whole topic of being intentional in parenting because I tried to boil down what is it that if I had 5 minutes, which I usually do, right, when they ask me in the grocery store, how do you do it? And I had to think, like, what does it all come down to? And they may or may not share my faith perspective, but they're going to hear my faith perspective in my answer to them. But I also believe that even if I don't give a full-on gospel message, because 5 minutes is not going to wrap that package up, I can give them something that'll whet their appetite yet satiate that initial question. Does that make sense? So I say that there are two camps or two ways of being as a parent. There's the distracted and there's the intentional parent. And the truth of the matter is, this is not an issue of, is Sean a distracted parent, yet Susan is an intentional parent, or Jeanette is an intentional parent, and this Susan is a distracted parent. Because that's immediately where we can go in our head is, like, if I'm intentional, but when I see another parent do this, they're distracted. You follow? Like, we can make this about other people. And my perspective is, this is us. Distracted and intentional, put them equally on different ends of a line, and you could just slide it back and forth, right? Like, right now I'm really intentional, give me 5 minutes, highly distracted. I would love to say that it's, one day I'm intentional, the next day I'm distracted, but really it's more like 5 minutes. Like, I'm really on it and really off it. I'm cool, calm, collected, and not so much. Like, that's how I look at the distracted and the intentional. So I said, which group are you in? Because if you're like me, I would have just said, you know what, truth be told, end of the day, it's a Tuesday, it was a holiday yesterday, terrible weather, distracted, not on it. Like, where are the kids and what do they eat? Food. I don't know. Like, make it work, right? But it really is a pendulum. I mean, I love the spectrum. Yes, it's a spectrum that we're on. And one end is distracted and one end is intentional. And sometimes we're not fully intentional, but we're closer to it than we are distracted. And sometimes we're not completely distracted, but we are a little off. Does that make sense? So that's how I want to describe intentional, and I want you to relate to being an intentional parent. So it's not I am an intentional parent as in we live and reside there. We can put our flagpole in the ground and claim the ground and say, this is it, I have arrived, because we all know the truth. There's no arriving in parenthood. Like, that would be the biggest joke ever. There's no arriving in parenthood. But there is this gap between our present-day reality and our full potential when we are on purpose and living fully into that purpose. And that is the more we're able to close that gap, the more I believe that we're living an intentional life and that we're living on purpose and full of purpose. But when that gap is wide, I believe that we're distracted and we're off. So I'm going to move on. I see my camera went out for a second, but it looked like it came back. We're going to talk about the first way that I found that intentional parents do differently, things they do differently. And this is the result of conversations I've had when I have seen families that are just on it, families that make me believe that better is possible, that they cause me to want to strive and pray more and be more present with my kids and be more patient. Like, I just look at them and I go, yeah, that's an awesome example for me and my family, and I want us to emulate that character trait that they're showing. I want us to live into what's possible for us versus us not doing that. And so one of the first things that they do is they make everyone in their family feel valuable. And that includes, and I say you in there because I'm talking to my mom, that includes you. And if you're in the family and you don't feel valuable, you don't feel valued by your family, it's not okay. Because the second that mom simply becomes, I love Jeanette Callis, the martyr, right? She just does whatever needs to happen, but she's not taking care of herself. She's denied her skills, her talents, her gifts. She's no longer resting properly, eating properly, exercising properly. She doesn't ask the kids to help out around the house. She's doing all the work, and she's driving it around, and she's organizing birthday parties, and she's volunteering, and this just the life that she leads. This is not what would happen in a family that's living intentional. In a family where they're on that end of the spectrum, hanging out closer and closer and closer to that intentional living, that's not how it goes. In that family, that mom would feel valued, and because she felt valued, she would be living into her gifts, living into her strengths. Living into them is a blessing to the family and the household. So I have a dear friend, I don't even know if she's on, and she has an amazing gift to do embroidery, and she had been denying herself the time to do that, to set up the machine and to have a special place and all of those different things. She denied herself that. And she decided one day, you know what, there's never going to be a perfect time for me to do this, so let me just set it up. And she set up her embroidery machine, got it all threaded, tested out some designs that had been swirling around in her head, and she was just ready to get them out and see what they look like. And she created it. And it took longer than she expected. And so here goes a couple days down the road, and she's working on these different projects as she gets a minute or two. But she looked up one evening, and her husband is coming in with this new idea that he had, some project he wanted to work on. And before long, she notices that her son is doing some things. And then she notices her daughter is pulling out different activities to do. And she's looking around, and she's like, I've never seen you all doing this before. This is outstanding. But she hadn't made the connection. And so she was in a group with me, and we were talking, and I was like, they saw you. They saw you living into your gifts and your hobbies and your interests, and it inspired them to want to do the same. And in that moment, she just took that in to say, I've been denying myself the time to do that, thinking it just affected me, not recognizing that it flowed into the family. It just robbed the family of that creative outlet and that inspiration to reach for more. So in intentional families, everyone feels valuable, and that includes mom. Number 2 things they do differently is they build strong family connections. And when I talk about that, what I mean is in an intentional family, there's not going to be the conversation is not going to be allowed to go into the negative, right? The name calling or the teasing or the mocking or any of those things that we can sometimes hear our kids do, and maybe just out of our own tiredness or just not even wanting to deal with it, we don't even we don't stop it in time. We let it go, and it becomes a habit. And it becomes something that tears down and breaks down family connections. They also build strong family connections because they have open and honest and responsible communication. And what does that look like? What do I mean by that? They have an open conversation when someone has said something that hurt their feelings, or when there's been a misunderstanding, or when there's been a broken agreement. Like you told me that you would pick me up, or you told me that you would take me somewhere, and you didn't. And, I was hurt by that. I was disappointed in that. And they said it in a way that's not like, You never keep your word. You never do that. Like, that's not the conversation. They're building strong family connections, but they're not denying that sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes people mess it up. Some people jack it up. Some people break your stuff, right? But they have conversations that still leave them with the connection in the family being stronger versus weaker. Let's move on to number 3. They speak the truth in love. Even when it's scary and even when it's hard, they speak the truth. They see their voice, and if you see me looking to the side, it's because I got some notes over here. Their voice as an intentional parent recognized as being important in the lives of every person in the family. And if they see trouble on the horizon, they recognize that it's not the loving thing to do to remain silent. If they see bad habits forming or wrong friendships or just laziness, they speak up about it. And they use their voice to stir the household to rise up to their best, the best of who they are. And they encourage them to shake off all the average thoughts and to rise to their full potential. You're absolutely right, Sean. Number 3 is tricky because it can come off and sound like whining or nagging or getting in my business, depending on what age your kids are. It could come across as any of those things. But without it, see the other end of that spectrum, right? If we just do things, but we don't speak up and we don't say anything about them, then we miss the opportunity to at least direct into a right path. So maybe it doesn't look like every time we see something we have to say so, and we're constantly pointing out, but it is this charge, this absolute commitment in the family for all of us to live to be the best of who we are, and we're willing to encourage one another to live full out in that, even if it's kind of hard for me to tell you this, but I know that you can do better than that. I know that you're capable of so much more than what you're doing. In comparison to someone else, maybe it'd be okay, right? But knowing who you are, I know you can do more than that. And and yeah, I agree. It can be tricky. But I think that if we do that and we come from the right heart versus the frustrated heart, the angry heart, maybe we just come into it and just saying, this is the truth that I want to share with you. I think that you'll see that it helps the entire family to live with more intention. What does it feel like to live in a household where you know people see nothing but the best in you and they're willing to call it out when you live less than that? Okay, Sean says, my teen just told me, I say it seriously and it sounds like yelling to her. It comes across as being overly critical. Sean, let me speak to you for a minute. Been taking the time to write some thoughts that I have around parents because I have been in a training that was totally not even about parenting, but that's just the way my life works, that whatever they're teaching on, I hear everything in the eyes and the ears of parents and things I want to share with you all. And you guys can look for this in the coming months. It won't be anytime soon. I've got plenty of projects. But I want to speak to you because there is a way, and it's going to be all around voice. And the title that I have for it right now is Stop Screaming and Start Communicating. Because I think that sometimes moms, we can go from the loving voice, the I love you in the sweet voice, to the I'm trying to get your attention, but you listen to me voice. And we're saying it because we feel a sense of urgency, but what our children hear is anger. Or maybe it just flat out is anger, right? Like maybe it just flat out is. I'll be honest here. And they don't see us, they don't us take the time often enough to graduate that voice. And there is a way that we can communicate urgency and seriousness that does not involve screaming, that does not mean the tone of our voice communicates anything other than I'm serious right now. And the urgent voice is harsh and lacks love. I want to give the analogy that I give to my children. When we are finishing up an event, like let's say 4th of July, and we have policemen that are out there directing traffic, and the policeman is blowing a whistle, and sometimes he's saying, come, like if you've got your windows down, he can signal you to come. If you'll notice the voice of that police officer, he's not angry. He's not angry at the crowd. He's not angry that there's traffic out there. He's just doing his job. But there'll be times when he needs the crowd's attention, and it doesn't mean he's angry. But we all get that the police officer is trying to get our attention, and we, sit up straight. We're like, woo, he said go left, let's go left, everybody. Left it is. Yes, sir, we're going left. And I try to tell my children that there are times when I raise my voice because the moment is now, the decision is now, and this is what needs to happen now. I'm not angry at you, but I do want your full and complete attention. So perhaps what I write and what I have to share, and if you want to talk to me more about that, girl, email me. Let's talk. You don't have to wait for me to finish writing this thing because I'm telling you it's going to be ways down the road. But I'd love to talk to you about some of the techniques I'm working on, that I'm learning. Mine is all around speaking, but it's the same stuff because our voices really can send a different message than what our words are saying. We could be saying, oh, I love you. Who's feeling that, right? It's like, who's feeling that? Yes. Okay, then we're going to jump back in here, guys. All right, so speaking the truth in love, number 4 goes right along with this, right? And imagine if you paired up number 3 and the 4, like you speak the truth in love and you're willing to admit when you're wrong, and that's everybody in the household. I put it this way, if you mess up, fess up. There's no excuses or blaming or hiding. And we model for our kids what it looks like to take personal responsibility, and we help them see that it's okay to make mistakes, while you also send the message that it's not okay to hide them. When they mess up, they have to fess up. They have to clean it up. And then we move on. We give grace to one another, and when we do make a mistake, we don't make it mean anything about who they are, the value of who they are, the intelligence of who they are, their potential. We recognize the mistake, and we own up to it. We fess up to it. And when we can create an atmosphere in our homes where it's safe enough to say, I messed that up, we release freedom in our homes in a way that we might not have ever tapped into. I didn't grow up feeling that it was always okay to share my wrongdoings. My father tended to be very sarcastic and hurtful and belittling. There was no way I was telling that man when I made a mistake. Are you kidding me? Like, I'd rather sweep that broken vase up under the coffee table or up under the tablecloth and get it later when it won't make so much noise. You follow? I'd rather do anything than to have to be shamed and embarrassed because I dropped something on accident. And it did not mean that I'm clumsy and borderline calling me an idiot. He didn't call me an idiot, but the words can still feel just go ahead and just call me an idiot. Because seriously, just get it over with. Rip the Band-Aid already. So if we can be more intentional, sliding on that pendulum of being able to admit when we're wrong and modeling that and giving our children the freedom to say, I made a mistake, what freedom we can release in our households. Yes, it really helps with the connection to fess up when we mess up. Yes. Yes. All right. Number 5 that the families do is they build a teamwork attitude within the home. This is, we all row together. Okay, so when married, Ron and I might have shared this with you all before, but it's such a true story. I'm going to share it again. I really had the mindset that we were coming into this relationship and we were going to be equals. We were going to be partners for life, me and you, babe, just the two of us. We got this. And my mindset was that this was a 50-50 relationship. We were both all in this thing, right? And So coming into it with this 50-50 mindset, it was kind of like, hey, so we're both going to college and we're both studying. So we both have outside the house commitments. So everything that needs to happen in the house, we need to split that 50-50 too, bud, because listen, we're both making a mess in here. We're going to both clean this mess up together. And, if I make the bed, then you should clean the bathroom. And if I cook the meal, then you should clean the dishes. Does anybody see the breakdown that's about to happen here? So if I do this, then you should do this. And this is just kind of my mindset because that's the way we're going to partner up. And I would get so irritated if I felt like I was leaning towards that 65% and somebody else was leaning more towards that 35%. And I'm like, hello, woo. So I'd have to raise the flag and be like, whoa, dude, not working here. See, because I took the trash out 3 days already this week. If I take it out one more day, then I'm over the line here, dude. Like, you're going to need to get the trash. And I'm so thankful that early in our marriage we made a commitment to stay constantly reading and learning and hanging out with couples that we admired their relationship. And somewhere along the way, you're exactly right, Sean, I learned that it's not about a 50-50 relationship. That 50-50 is impossible to achieve. But it's about each one of us living 100%, giving our best, giving our all, and living full in. And it's the same way in the family. A phrase that's off limits in our household, and my kids will tell you that, is, it's not my job. Oh, I mean, I could be outside. I could be half asleep. If I hear anyone in this house say, that's not my job, woo, like mama comes running, hold on, who said it? Who said it, and what was it about? And usually they're caught off guard, and they're still in the, well, I said it. It's not my job to do that, to pick that up off the floor, to wipe that table down. Whoever said it gets the pleasure of doing that job. Because I say, if you see a need, you fill a need, guys. Like if you see something on the floor, just because it's not your job to sweep the floor, pick it up. It doesn't belong there. If you see a dish left in the living room, even if you didn't leave it, you see a need, you fill a need. This needs to get in its proper place. So pick it up, clean it up, straighten it up, help them tie their shoes. They're not your buddy, still get them to the vehicle. Make sure they have their stuff. And that creates a teamwork attitude where everybody's covered, everybody's looked out for. In theory, we still jack even that up, but we're all pulling this thing together. We're all going in the same direction, guys, because we're a team. Let's behave like one. Let's behave like a functional team. There are dysfunctional teams. Let's not be that. Let's all row the boat in the same direction. Can you imagine if we were like a rowing team? You ever seen a rowing team where there's that long, narrow boat and everybody's got an oar? Can you imagine what would happen if everybody was rowing on a different rhythm? Because they're about rhythm and synchronicity, right? And it's the most beautiful thing when they're rowing and going back and forth and pulling and getting things going. It's gorgeous to watch them work and how they just glide across the water. And imagine if that was your family and you're doing that, but everybody's on a different rhythm with their oar, right? Not a pretty sight. Boat's not going anywhere. Matter of fact, you're expelling energy, sweating more than is needed if everybody was synchronized and pulling in the same direction. It's much more work when you're working against one another than it is to just, hey, guys, we're in the same boat. We're all trying to go in the same direction. Matter of fact, my husband and I actually say that to one another when we find our voices getting a little tense and a little tight. I will not call that an argument, but I will say that it's a serious discussion. It's elevated from just a casual conversation. And we will say, oh, wait a minute, let's remember we're on the same team here. Like, I want the best for you, you want the best for me, we want the best for our family. Can we remind ourselves of this in this moment? Because I think both of us are willing to put stakes on these tiny little anthills that we've built up into big old mountain right now. And it's really not even worth that because we're on the same team, right? It's like we're trying to stake out an island, but we're on the same piece of land. Like, this makes no sense, guys. So teamwork, building that teamwork attitude in our homes, and everyone adopting it. Let me check in here and say, Jeanette saying everyone will drown. They're being selfish and doing their own thing, and no one gets anywhere. So true. Susan saying rowing in the same direction with Jesus at the helm. That is victory. I love that. I love that. Let me see if there's anything else I skipped saying. Yes, the other thing I have here is one another. How much we need each other. It's no accident the family that we've been placed in. It's no accident the children that God has blessed you with. Not one of them is an accident. And each one of them is a gift to you and a gift to the other people in your family. And when we act and behave as a team, we can, in that moment, remind one another we need you. And we can't get where we need to be, and we can't receive the blessings God has for us without you in the boat rowing with us in the same direction. We all win when we do that. And that creates such an amazing amount of unity. And don't we all, that's one of the most basic needs that all of us have, is to feel wanted, to feel accepted. If we want to be a part of something. So that's the reason why we join organizations, and that's the reason why we want to be a part of a team. And if they can get that need, I will not go on this tangent, but just let that sink in. If we can get that need met at home, what kind of foolishness does that help them to avoid outside of our home? If they already feel like they're a part of something pretty outstanding, then the other groups and the other madness that wants to invite them in has no effect. All right? When you've had your fill of good stuff, you can't be tempted with the other stuff that's out there that's just lots of strings attached, and strings attached. You're like, no, I'm satisfied. So, no thank you. Rolling it off. Water on a duck's back. All right. And we are going to get to number 6, and just as I thought, this is going to be as far as we're going to be able to get for tonight. But number 6, the things that intentional families do, is they give each person lots of praise, and they do it often. So when it comes to praise, sometimes there can be a fear of overly doing it, right? Like puffing their head up a little too much, like they're just a little too drunk on like how wonderful they are. But when I think of that, I want to think of giving them positive attention and appreciation and recognition in a way that we're building their confidence, but we're also finding things that we want to praise in them, and we want to take note of it in the context of the character trait that we see represented in them. So it's not just like you as a person are so outstanding and wonderful and lovely and charming. And they're like, I'm pretty outstanding, aren't I? Because, kids, like they haven't been through all the junk we've been through where we can't, like as moms, we can't even halfway hear good stuff about ourselves. We're like, nah, that's not true. I mean, you're just being nice. If you only knew me, you would not be saying that. Like we say all of that stuff, but not kids. Like they drink that in like it's of course it's the truth, right? They're in the, yeah, of course. I want to have us shift our minds when we're being intentional. Because, see, if we're just distracted, we might just praise the outer stuff. We might just say, oh, my gosh, you're just such an amazing soccer player or gymnast or violin or piano player. Like we just go right to the outside stuff. But when we're intentional, we can recognize the inner stuff, the stuff that matters. And we can say, you know what? You've got to be one of the most dedicated individuals I've seen in a long time. I so admire your commitment to honor your agreements. Like none of your friends showed up, but you still showed up. Goodness, you were so honest back there that I know that others didn't appreciate it, but I'm proud of your honesty. Like we're digging deep, we're looking past the surface stuff, and we're seeing the character trait that's within that needs to be celebrated and recognized. And it's not about the outer stuff, because that's the stuff the world praises. Like, you get trophies when you win the game. But there's still so much to be rewarded and recognized, even on the team that didn't win the game. And as an intentional parent, when we're not distracted by the sadness of the coach or the fellow teammates who are looking for each other to blame, when we're not distracted by that stuff, we can swing on over to the intentional side and say, I see something in you. Like, you knew your team was losing in the second quarter, yet you still played full out the whole game. That takes a special kind of person to do something like that. And that's the kind of kid you are. And, man, am I proud to be your mama. Come on. Like, man, when you would rock their worlds, if you could, in that moment of disappointment, you didn't play the game really well, because they go, come on, I did not play well. I missed all my shots. I gave over the ball. I did all this. Like, they're not trying to hear that, because they can sense that that's not true for them. But when you can say, listen, I don't care that you missed your shot, but I'm pretty impressed that you still gave all, they can receive that. And likewise, if that's just the atmosphere of the home, the praise is, again, not about the outer stuff. It's about the character traits. It runs deeper than that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Sorry, I looked away and switched the name. Sean. Here we go. Number 1, they make everyone in the family feel valuable. Remember, 2, I'm recording this, and I'll be sending out the link. They make everyone in the family feel valuable. Build strong family connections. Number 3, they speak the truth in love. Number 4, they admit when they're wrong. Number 5, they build a teamwork attitude within the home. And number 6, they give each person lots of praise, and they do it often. Jeanette, you are awesome. Look at you. You put it in the chat box. My goodness, girl, you're such a rock star friend. I'm telling you the truth. And we're going to do 6 through 12 next time. But what I want to take a quick second for is I want to hear, it's your turn. I've done a lot of talking. What did you hear tonight? Like, what stood out for you? What was really ringing in your ears as I shared? Let me hear your thoughts tonight. Just share them with me in the chat box. Okay. I was going to say, is my chat box acting up again? I don't see anything, but there we go. You all let me know your thoughts. Tell me what you heard. Yeah, really good, Jeanette. I love that you're typing that up right there on the computer. That's fantastic. I love hanging out with people who love to take notes. I have been to some pretty outstanding trainings and workshops and conferences. I have few people actually take notes, and I can't seem to write fast enough. I'm thinking this is such good stuff, and if you let it try to rest in my mind 5 minutes from now, good luck. So I want to write it down, and other people, not writing it down, not in it at all. I don't get it. I don't get it. I got to take notes. So I see Susan is typing. I see Sean is typing. This is going to be good. I just know it. Susan, I'm going back up to the top where you're saying the little one coming in the shower looks just like your house. You went to the restroom by yourself about 14 years ago. That is fantastic. Yeah. Huh. Oh, love this. You ladies are sharing so much. Okay. All right. So Susan's saying, I've got to be more intentional about praising children, splashing stickers on their schoolwork, etc. I so desire for my children and husband to all feel valued, and I also need to admit when I'm wrong more quickly and often than I do. Very nice. Jeanette, I have to admit the weight of being the one in the family to praise and show affection, etc., is so hard, especially when naturally critical. But thank God I've improved and I can see a difference in my kids. Yes. We will never be perfect. Amen to that. And God will fill in and be there all when I fail, but I need to try my best. I love it. And I'm glad that you put that piece of grace in that, Jeanette. I think that's so important because remember, when we think of this on a spectrum, we're leaning and we want to hang out more towards that intentional end, but our aim is not to live there because we'll be sorely disappointed in ourselves more than we will ever give ourselves credit for doing better than we did yesterday. And reminding ourselves that it's not all up to us. We serve a God who is faithful, and He fills in our gaps, our holes, our missteps, our mistakes, our unseen and highly distracted moments. His grace is covering all of that. So I love that you reminded of that. Yes. Sean says, letting myself get distracted to be a good mom erases being a mom in the moment. Speaking truth in love, saying, valuing each person, making meaningful connections, having a heart to fess up, rowing with the other oars in the boat, and praising often. Yes. Susan said, Christ at the helm. He is also the purpose. Our goal is to be more Christ-like. Yes and amen. I so agree. Ladies, it's been another outstanding night. I have one more thing that I want to share with you because I have an announcement. Ta-da! I have I'm actually going to hold it up here, picked it up from printer today. I have a Mentor for Mom's Guide to Core Values for the Family. I'm so stinking excited. I don't know what to do with myself. This, to be clear, okay, the mosquito is back, and he is, like, really obnoxious right now. To be clear, this is not the book, okay? I am still working on the book. This is actually a guide. When I think about families who want to be intentional, I think what's that first step? And it's all about them getting clear, just as this guide says, on the core values for the family. And if the family can get clear on the core values, then it erases a lot of decisions that we need to make day to day. For example, our family has 3 core values, and I recommend that families have 3, but you'll see all of that when you get the workbook. And it's faith, love, and respect. So when we need to filter out any decision, when we need to move forward, when things are happening in our family, we go back to those and we say, are we living in faith? Our faith is in God. Jesus Christ is our Savior. Are we showing and modeling love? And are we showing and modeling respect? And I give families step by step how to go about defining core values, how I look at core values differently. If you've ever heard of a family writing something like a mission statement or some big, legacy statement that I've heard other organizations teach or books that talk about that, I make it much simpler for families, and I make it something that is an active, lived out, moving forward piece that just becomes an absolute part of the family. And I put it together in a guide, which is like full of, I don't know if you can see that, like worksheets that you're filling out the whole way, all the way through. There's a list of like 96 values that you can choose from. Ooh, ba-ba-da, doo-doo. So it's all in there. I'm so stinking excited about this. And I have a limited print on this first run because I want to know, is anybody else as excited about this or is it just me? So they are actually going to be available at the conference that I'm speaking at. And just to give an idea, I'm going to have 50 in this first print run of these books. And I just sent off 1,000 postcards that go into every bag for attendees at the conference. So I'm telling you what, let those numbers make sense. But I want to tell you what this looks like because I've structured it in a way that this is how I plan to serve moms. So some of you have asked, okay, Mom, Susan, you're a mentor for moms. What does that look like? How does it work? What do people do with you? Here you go. This is what it looks like. So right now, and I'm hoping that's all on the screen for you. Let me see if I can adjust that a little bit. I have the guide ready to go. I say the guide, but it's really a program. It has the 96 pages of worksheets that take you through the pre-work that you do, the work to choose it, and then the how you live it out. And it's working through that for an entire year. This guide will carry each family that participates an entire year of not only choosing your core values, but how you live them out each month, and then how'd you do as you tried to live them out that month, and then how can you improve? Checking in, and then do it again the next month. Okay, I think it's awesome. I just so excited. But I thought we can do better than that. So then with the guide, you also get an additional 12 months of support with that, meaning each month I'm going to send you an encouraging message. It might come via video, it might come via email, or it might actually come in the snail mail. Like, that's radical, right? But it's going to be something to say, you're on the right track. And you might have fallen off. Maybe you forgot your values. Maybe you're not living fully into what's possible for your family. But anything you've done in that direction is better than what you did last week or what you did last month or what you did last year. It's just going to be a boost. I'm going to be giving you updates on how our family is doing and other families that are in the program. So it's the guide, but it's also its own program that you'll get for a full year. I can't. I'm so excited about this thing. Okay, then I'm going to have a guide. With the guide, I'm also going to have a 4-week course. Now, this is for any of the people who are like me. If you bought books with the best of intentions and you're like, that message is awesome, and the book sits on the nightstand and you don't actually work through the stuff, this is for that mom who's like, I'm not buying another book because I'm not going to get it done. Like, I can't even tell you how many hundreds of dollars, it's probably hundreds of dollars I've spent on curriculum that I didn't fully use because we homeschool. And if I could have bought some of that curriculum, and then the person who organized that curriculum said, I tell you what, sit down with me for 4 weeks and I'll help you plan out how to use that curriculum. I'll walk you through the best tips of how to maximize this, and I'll help you get started for a full month, me and you. I would have been all over that because the support makes all the difference. Yeah, exactly, Jeanette. Yeah, we do. And yes, so then we've got that, and that's going to be a 4-week course. That course is going to be online in this exact same room, but the total focus will be 4 weeks where we're walking through how to live out those core values, how to get started, what needs to happen. There are going to be exercises for you to do and homework for you to do, but it's going to be fun stuff. And by the end, you'll be fully set. Your family will have the core values, and you'll be launched off into your full year, and then you'll get the monthly stuff that you get just with the guide from me. Boom. So it's like, come on. All right, and then there's the one-on-one side. Like, if you want to do the guide with the full year of support plus the 4-week course, make sure you get this thing launched off right. And then once the course is over, you get 30 minutes on the phone, me and you jamming about your family. Like, where you stuck, what needs help, If you just want to ask me, Susan, okay, here's my questions I got for you. Bam, how do you do this? Boom, how do you deal with that? Boom, what's next? Boom, what's your best resource here? What's your tip? How did you do this? How did you manage that? It's me and you, 30 minutes, one-on-one. We can do this thing. So that's what's in my world right now. This is what I am preparing to share at the conference next weekend. But I wanted you ladies here first because you guys are so important to me. You've been here. Try not to cry again this month. But you've been here each month. You've been here so active. You've been such an encouragement to me that I just felt like it was the best thing I could do was to let you know about it first. So you are the very first people to hear about it. The book will be hot off the press next week. I was at the printer today. This is my preview copy. We got a couple of adjustments he's going to make for me, and then they'll be off the presses, and I'll be at the mailbox mailing them off to people. But if you're interested in this at all, you want to read more about it, or if you just like, I'm all in, go to susanc.com/buy, and it's all laid out for you. If you want the guide in the class, you want the guide, the class, the mentor, and you're like, give me the whole kit and caboodle, it's all there for you. It's ready to go. Happy am I to be able to provide this kind of support to you because you all each deserve it. Yes, you absolutely may share it online. I have this offer available until noon on Friday because I want to know what I have available when I prepare to go to the conference next week. So I want to give a limited time on that so that I can ensure that I'm prepared for next week, know exactly what I have. So for you ladies and for those who watch this recording, this offer will be available until this Friday at noon Central Standard Time, and then I will pull it down so that I can regroup and be clear on what I have and what's available. So yes, share away. Encourage your friends to watch this replay. And if you ladies have any questions, you know how to reach me. You can ask them now in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. One question that you might have is like, when is the class, right? The class will not be until August. So get through the end of the school year stuff. Get through all the graduations. My kids have already been to like at least 2, and I think there are 3 that have happened. They just couldn't make one. And get through the summertime. Just enjoy your family. And then in August, let's kick it in gear. We can do this. So you can share the replay. I will be sending out the link. When does the link come out? Tomorrow? I think the link comes out tomorrow. It'll come to your email inbox, Sean, and then you can just share away with your friends and tell them to get on it because Friday at noon is going to come quick. I'll make sure you have it tomorrow morning. I'll make sure it comes out to you so you guys can share away and everybody has plenty of time to make the decision that's right for them today because that's what we all need to do. Make the right decision that's right for your family. All right, so we will be back here on June the 23rd, and we're going to go through 12 because I still got, like, look at all these notes I got over here that I can't wait to share with you this other stuff because it's good stuff too. So if you need me, ladies, you reach out to me. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. And I don't see anybody. You will send the June date with the teaser of the last 6 points. A teaser? What would the teaser be? Like, you are so welcome, Susan. And it's so great to have you here, Sean. But I will be, yes, okay, saying, it'll be the last 6 points. Is that what you mean, Jeanette? That's what I'm going to guess you mean. Yes, I will be saying I'm going to do the last 6 points of the things intentional parents do differently. You're exactly right, that. I will be sending that out in an email just as I do each month to make sure that you guys can get registered and you can let your friends know and share it. I was not able to tag you on Facebook, Jeanette, when I put the posting out there. You'd asked me to tag you. I tried and tried and tried, and it was like not working, and I was so frustrated with that thing. But I try my best to get it out there for you guys to just grab it and share. You can just grab that image anytime and just put your own notes on it, however you want to do it. Ladies, y'all have a fantastic night. If you need me, I'm here for you, and I'll talk to you next month. Good night.